Hello, I am Alexandre Audebert, International Product Manager for the Quantel Medical point-of-care ultrasound range. I would like to propose you to review the use and the different good practice to optimize an ultrasound image in order to perform the examination with the most visual comfort possible. After turning on the machine, I choose the correct username. I use the touch screen or the physical keyboard of my EvoTouch to enter the different identification elements of the patient in order to link the images and the different measurements that will be performed to the right file. But I can also perform an ultrasound guided procedure without needing to produce an examination report, in which case I don't need to create the patient file and I can go directly to the image setting step. Depending on the examination to be conducted, but also sometimes depending on the morphotype of the patient, obese, age, or sport person, I choose a probe that is best adapted to the examination. As a reminder, I can choose between several types of probes, all of them having very different specificities. In the EvoTouch range, you can choose between 8 probes. First of all, the convex probes, which have a lower ultrasound frequency emission. This means that they can examine tissue at a greater depth, but the generated image will be trapezoid shaped and not with a different definition than with a higher frequency probe. In the range, there are also linear probes. They generally have a high frequency, higher than the convex probes, allowing a very good definition on the more superficial zones. After choosing the most appropriate probes for my examination, I choose the right preset in the ultrasound menu. Each preset automatically optimizes the basic settings of the machine according to the selected probes and to the examination to be performed. Once the right preset has been chosen, I put the gel and I place the probes on the patient. Then I can, depending on the morphology or echogenicity of the patient, adjust the depth and the frequency of ultrasound emission. As a reminder, a low frequency allows a better penetration of the ultrasound into the tissue, and a higher frequency allows a better image on the surface. Be careful, it is not an exact or absolute rule. Sometimes you will have a better superficial image with a lower frequency than the one proposed by the machine. It's a permanent game of compromise, and you will always have to adapt to the echogenicity of your patient, the area under observation, and your eyes. Depending on targeted organ and of the patient, I adjust the size of my examination window by playing with the depth settings. Once my target is located and positioned in the center of my screen, I can adjust the focal point. The focal point, represented by the orange arrow on the screen of the EvoTouch, is the area where the ultrasound are focused. It's a bit like adjusting the focal length or the focus point when taking a picture with a camera. The selected area will be the one with the highest clearness. If necessary, still depending on the echogenicity of the patient or depending on the anatomical structures with which the user will need to identify for a good sightings, I can also adjust the dynamics. So what is behind this term of dynamics? Dynamics is nothing more than the gray scale that the ultrasound scanner will use to represent the different tissue that the ultrasound wave will pass through. On the EvoTouch, you can easily adjust this parameter, which is not always the case on other devices. This means that if I reduce the dynamic range, I will have a harder image with a lot of white and black, allowing me to highlight the vessel, they will appear very black, and the hyperechogenic surface will appear very bright, such as the nerve fibers, for example. Finally, to optimize your visual comfort, you will have to adjust the gain. These settings affect the brightness of the image, the general intensity of the signal that the ultrasound scanner will display on the screen. You also have the possibility to adjust the gain by depth level by using the TGC scale, which will allow you to highlight more or less certain level of the image in function of the depth. It is essential to always readjust the basic settings according to the patient profiles. Sometimes the basic presets will offer the right image according to what we are looking for without having to touch any buttons. Other times, for more complicated or less echogenic patients, it will be necessary to adjust some settings. This is made easier on the EvoTouch range with the voice control function, which allows you to control key image setting easily and at distance. On the EvoTouch range, to facilitate the user's task, after having precisely adjusted your settings, you will be able to save them and find them very easily before each exam. For example, for the same type of examination, you will only have to choose the settings that you have created for yourself. In addition, there are other tools integrated into our machines that will allow you to magnify the image, such as different types of smoothing or intensity adjustment. These more technical settings will be presented to you by our team during the installation of the ultrasound scanner. For example, the unique function, the Evo app, which allows you to connect an iPad to the ultrasound scanner in order to have a second screen and also to have access to the different settings directly from the tablet. I hope that these practical tips will be useful and help you to adjust the image in the best way possible. The Contail medical teams remains at your disposal for further details or for specific needs or questions.